Right, so I'm just going to get this started up now, guys. So I've got CM Jouska with me and Rick Van Beem, who both work for... Can you guys correct me on how to pronounce the company? Is it Daum EU or, well, NA as well for you?
It's Daum Games.
Daum Games, okay.
Officially, it's Daum Games Europe BV, and BV is basically the Dutch abbreviation, what you in the UK would call limited, or in the US.
Cool.
But it's Daum Games.
Cool, fantastic. All right, I'll try not to get that wrong. So before we get started with the actual Q&A, what is it you guys both do in terms within the company itself? What are your job roles, if you will?
For me, I'm basically the head of marketing and public relations. So if you've seen any Black Desert Online banners on Twitch or I don't know anywhere else, that's my doing. Me and the team of PR professionals also handle all the press, Twitch and YouTube influencers like yourself, we basically evangelize the game.
Cool. And Jouska, what about yourself?
My title is community manager. That's my main role is interacting with the community, providing feedback from the community and all the other public outlets back to our team. It gets passed on to the developers. I take the information from the team itself and provide it as quickly as possible to the actual community. Outside of community management, I work in operations. That's everything from fighting the gold spammers to bug testing, bot removal, just keeping the integrity of the game intact.
Awesome. Cool. All right, then. Well, if you guys are happy to, we'll just jump straight into it because I've got quite a few questions that have been asked. If you guys weren't aware, basically the way I went about getting the questions is I put a post up on the Black Desert Reddit and went with basically the most popular questions. Seems to be the one that the community wants to know the answers to the most, so I just went with those ones whilst chucking in a few as well just to sort of like buffer it up. So yeah, the first question really is, how do you guys think the launch went? Was it as you planned, or were there more issues than you hoped, or how do you envisage it went in as an overall experience for players?
Okay, so not really as we planned.
Yeah, because there were a few issues, weren't there?
Yes, but also those issues, or most of them, basically came out of the thing that we were so successful at launch, which we really didn't expect. Obviously, we had a quite an extensive, long pre-order period where we were doing, really good sales, but nothing out of the extraordinary. And then when launch was approaching, I don't know what exactly happened. It just went viral everywhere, and people were buying the game en masse, and it basically DDoSed our site at launch. We of course had a couple of issues with with some of the early access people who had a pre-order package and couldn't get their items claimed, and more like those issues. But in the end, we were very happy that at least the servers were up and running when we launched. So it was it was quite nerve-wracking, but in a positive way, because I think yes, we had quite some issues and we made mistakes down the line, but that happens with any online game. That doesn't make it good, but still. But I think overall, if we look at the entire launch phase, I think we can be happy in how it all went. I mean, we have servers live. The downtime on launch day itself was very unfortunate, but we had to plan that in to make sure some of the issues were being fixed. And we're still fixing issues.
Sorry, Rick. Just really quickly, are you moving your microphone or something? Because it's like I don't know. Jouska, are you hearing these?
Yes, there's a dragging sound.
Yeah, it's almost like you're dragging it. I don't know, like on your shirt or so. I don't even know. It's just quite loud.
Let me just. I'm now completely hands off.
Okay. Cool. Anyway, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Continue if there was if you wanted to add to it.
Oh yeah, we had launch problems. That's one thing for sure. But if I look at it from a broader perspective, I think our launch was quite successful, and with a relatively stable server capacity. And yeah, I think we can be pleased with that, from our side. But there's still a lot of issues that we need to solve, and we're working 24/7 in getting them solved.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to be going well at the moment. I mean, leads me on to my next question. Really, is the game, has it been as as popular as you've hoped it's been, or has it been even more so popular than you thought it'd be?
More so, because if we would have, if everything would go down as planned, then we might have not encountered any of the issues we've encountered. Yeah, we underestimated the success of this game. I think we can safely say that.
Yeah, I guess that's only really a good thing that it's
so
been painful.
It's a luxury problem on our side, but still there are still users that are that need help from us, to get certain issues solved. And again, we're trying as hard as we can to help those people. But yeah, the thing with sales also, because that's the other side of the medallion, we prepared for a certain amount of sales, and also our customer support was scaled that way. But now our team is, not enough to handle all the incoming tickets. So I'm now happy that we can scale up significantly by early next week.
So you're actually increasing your team size then to deal with all the sort of like influx of,
massive, because we need to do that. Otherwise, we will never solve these.
Yeah, because that was one of the concerns that some of the players had in this game, that some of the tickets have been taking a long time to answer. But I guess if you guys are upscaling and increasing the size of your team, then that will solve that problem.
Yeah, and again,
Definitely.
I mean, our sincerest apologies for this, and for all those people waiting to get proper help for this. We had to do a couple of mass emails as well to hope and decrease the ticket size. Not very personal, of course, but we had to take all those measures to keep it somewhat manageable. But real help is on the way. And we will be scaling up from coming Monday. We will have a new team that will help us in solving all the stream of tickets that we are receiving right now.
Awesome, cool. Jalska, this might be a question a bit more for yourself. I'm not sure. So one of the things that one of the quite popular questions have been about the texture popping in this game. When you're running down the road, it looks like items, trees, and stuff can pop out of what seems like nowhere. People wondering if that's just something that's part of the graphics engine, if you will, and will never be removed, or if there is an idea to get that fixed further down the line.
Well, I can definitely say that we've noticed the texture pop-ins. It's kind of hard to miss it. Anyone that's played the game has seen it. I can definitely attest to that is a factor in the game. We've seen the reviews and the feedback from it from the community and from our own personal experiences while playing it. We've taken that feedback and we have passed it on to the developers. We don't have a hard time or an ETA if this is going to be addressed, but we are definitely aware of the situation, and if and when more information becomes available, that'll be something you can see me posting on the forums.
Cool, fantastic. Also, something else to lead on from that question is you just said that you passed them on to the developers. One of the questions that a lot of people were asking is there a completely separate team for the EU NA side, or is it you sort of pass it back to the Korean team and then they work on it from over there and then they come back to you with their changes kind of thing?
I'd have to say it's a mixture between the two of those options. The changes to the game are made by by Pearl Abyss. They hold the intellectual rights. We publish this game. They develop the game, but we work with PA. It's not as separated as you see with some companies. A good example is I spent the better part of 3 hours this morning with PM Belsazar in a meeting directly with Pearl Abyss, with a several page long report of the various feedback points from the community, going over it point by point.
Right.
It's a very high level of interaction. It's not fire off the email and wait to see what you get.
Yeah. So you have direct interaction with them, so you can actually get live feedback essentially with them.
And if I can add to that, it's also, of course, that there is a certain barrier in terms of both language as well as perception, I think, of how games should be published. So what they consider to be good taste of gameplay or systems might not necessarily stroke with ours or with Western tastes. And it does take our community management, but also our PM, effort to persuade Pearl Abyss to see it our way and give us the changes we want.
Right. Okay. Right. Cool.
Yeah.
So it's a working habit. Cool. Right. So next thing is some players feel like they're being pushed out of playing the game due to the region lockouts. Are there any plans to open up the game in more places around the world, or is it just down to licensing essentially that you can't get them for those regions? So South America, for example.
So for us as Daum Games, we have the right, because we have had this problem since the start. For Daum Games, it's pretty simple. We have a contract in place, and that contract says you are allowed to publish the game in XYZ country and nothing else.
Right.
Having said that, we of course also express concerns because we had some quite tricky territories like Estonia, Lithuania, the Ukraine, basically parts of Europe that are now falling underneath the Russian servers, so to say.
Cool.
And as you might know, there are some political stuff going on there.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and the same goes with South America. But we simply do not have the rights to publish the game in those territories. What I can tell you is that Pearl Abyss a couple of months ago have announced a global servers they want to implement. I have no idea what their business model will be or what kind of languages they will support, but they've announced that on their Facebook page. People that want more information on that, please check with Pearl Abyss because we have no idea on what they are planning for the other territories.
Okay, cool. Right. Have you got speakers on by any chance? Or are you using a headset? Because I keep hearing sort of like feedback coming from my voice or something. Or am I going?
Okay, yes. Sorry, I don't have any headset right now.
Okay, yeah, that'll be it. It'll just be coming from the speakers. All right, no worries. Right, hang on. Let's go to the next thing. Hang on. Which is so. This was a really popular one. So obviously we've got the in-game cash shop, which allows you to buy cosmetic items to make your character look better and sort of like you get perks from it. But are there any ideas for you guys to be implementing them into the actual game itself without having to use the cash shop? Because as this is a buy-to-play game in Europe and America, we feel like some of the store features are still free to play in the sense that our characters can't look particularly good unless we spend money on the cash shop.
Yes, but on the other hand, if you look at the amount of content you get for, let's say you buy a €30 package, I mean, there are indie games that cost as much. And, don't get me wrong, but I do think that we have a very strong proposition with Black Desert Online. And yes, I mean, we have a cash shop, and we have tried, and I think successfully, to eliminate the cash shop of any pay-to-win items. Yeah, and that's also a bit of our livelihood that will make sure that we can get the other content updates to you also for free. In the end, we're still running a business.
Yeah.
And, we need to make revenue. It's as simple as that.
No, okay, fair enough. That's fair. Right, so the next thing then, moving on from that one, is so there's a feature, Joust, there's probably one more for you. Is there was a feature obviously in the Korean version and the Russian version called auto looping, which obviously is not.
Very sorry about that. Yeah, the auto loop paths, where you could set your markers on the map, and whenever you clicked back, completed the circle, you'd run on an auto path.
Yeah, that's it. Are we going to get that?
Yep. Well, first off, that's a mechanic that was added in KR later on in the game, and it was added in as a catch-up type mechanic, specifically for people to catch up their strength, their breath, their horses, so forth and so on. And it worked very well. Obviously, the people that played in the other regions got to experience it. At this stage of the game, we don't have it in because there's nothing to catch up with, but we are seeing the feedback and seeing the requests on it, and it's something that we're going to continue to monitor and pay attention to.
Right, okay, but the chances are later on when we get new content, we will get it, or there's only a potential to get it at the moment.
I can't commit either way yet.
Right,
it's going to depend on what fits in.
Okay, fair enough. No, okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's just lots of people want to know. I miss it hugely because obviously with horse breeding, it makes leveling horses take a very long time.
It was kind of nice being able to put all 4 horses on my noble wagon and go in a circle. I completely understand where you're coming from.
Cool. All right, no worries. As long as you guys are aware, I mean, I'm sure you are. That's cool. Speaking of the content patches, have you guys got any rough dates that you can tell us yet when we can be expecting the first major patch like Media or anything?
So,
you're going to hate me for this one.
Go on, why?
Well, we're going to stick with the vague answer, but I'm going to help. I'll add one extra word.
Okay.
Very soon.
Okay. Okay, all right, and that's all you can give us then. Very soon is the answer we're stuck with.
Yep.
Very, very soon. But you can expect, and also to come back to the previous question you asked. I mean, we have the luxury that this game has been out in Korea for I think 2 years now, Wes?
Yeah.
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 So
yeah, pretty close.
So we have the luxury that we can now play catch up, which means that we, instead of having a vanilla game for a very long time, then, basically the problem that a game like Destiny has now, for instance, that you have to wait a long time for a content update. We can significantly increase that now because we have the luxury that we are lagging behind. So you can expect from us small to medium-sized, but also larger content updates on a near monthly basis, I guess.
Awesome.
So, we are adding a lot of content, and all that content will be free. So, if you have bought the game, the content will be free.
Awesome. Right. So, just going on from that, does that mean we're going to get characters like, so you've got the classes like Bladers and Ninjas. Are they going to be coming out as they did on Korea with the major content patches?
That is not. It could well be that will be mixed up.
So we could get them potentially sooner.
You may not. They may not necessarily come out in the same exact order. It's not set in stone yet exactly how they're going to be received.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So you guys. So we still haven't got confirmed dates or anything. It's just we might get them in chopped up orders. Awesome. Okay. No problem. So one of my questions was actually going to be about bringing out any sort of catch-up features to allow new players to catch up, but I guess that kind of ties in with the auto-looping.
Correct. Right now, the game is, including Head Start, we're still under 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
Currently, there's nothing to catch up to.
No. I was talking sort of further down the line. New players could potentially be put off because obviously it's quite a time-investing game.
Definitely.
But that's just sort of like with the auto-looping at the moment.
I could do with some catch-up, by the way.
Yeah, 2 weeks in, level 10. You need to get that catch-up feature in. So there you go. He needs auto-looping. What else do we... Next one. So we've got the die system in the game at the moment. and a few people are a bit concerned that it's quite RNG based in that you might not get the colors you want. And on Korea, I know for certain, I'm not sure about Russia or the other ones, there was the Palette of Merv system, which you pay. Jasker, are you aware of the Palette of Merv system? I assume you are.
Palette of Merv comes in variables of 1 day, 7 days, 14, 30, and 90. It allows players to have access to all basic dye colors with the exception of the deep bronze, true black, and a couple of the other more key ones, and it does not give access to any of the region-specific dyes, such as the Valencians, Medias, etc.
Cool. So obviously, yeah, you do know all about it. So are we going to be seeing that on EU coming over? Because I'd love to dye my armor, but I'm not a fan of the RNG game in that sense. So I'd kind of wait for the basic colors to be available with the Merv palette.
On you, Rick.
Sorry?
Go for it. You can take this one.
I can take this one?
Yeah,
Yep.
for the palette of Merv, whether we're going to see it on EU or not.
Well, I'm not sure, to be honest. Wes, do you have any info on this?
For the Palette of Merv, I obviously know about the item itself, but I don't have an ETA or a date on it yet. There's been, honestly, your previous statement was a bit of an understatement. There's been more than a couple threads and topics about the dye system. They're under review. They've been published. They've been posted, and it's been definitely documented, and it's being passed on. I don't have an answer as to how it's going to change, if it will, or when it will, but the request is there.
Yeah, okay,
And-
we requested it, right?
Cool. So it's just sort of waiting to hear back.
And speaking as a player that has a solid set of armor, all dyed one color, I understand.
Right, yeah, that's the issue, isn't it? If you want all your armor red or whatever, it's going to take a long time to get specifically red dyes, kind of thing, if you will. Cool. All right, so I guess it's just waiting to hear back about that one then, for when we're going to get it. So the next thing is going to be, you guys still have the pet breeding system disabled, because apparently you guys are working on a new system. Now, we saw, I think it was today, Korea announced their new pet breeding system. Is that the system we're getting, or can you share any details about the system that you're going to bring out to us?
I don't have details specific for our region yet, and I had planned on actually going over the KR changes to the pet breeding system this morning, but they got slightly interrupted. The meeting ran late, and now I'm here with this interview.
Oh, right, I see. So you haven't
I
seen them
will
yourself
catch
yet.
up on it because you probably know more about it than I do at the moment.
Okay, cool. So as it is right now, we don't really have any details on the system change that's coming to EU then. Cool. All right then. When you guys are bringing out future patches and we've got all the awakening weapons that come out, obviously on Korea they staggered them out and they're still working on some of them now. There are still a few classes that don't even have them yet, like Witch or Wizard. When you bring them to EU, are you guys going to stagger them like with Korea, or are you going to try and bring them all out? Because the concern is that it somewhat overpowers certain classes when one of them has the awakening and the other does not.
Yeah, I think we are aware of that issue. So we try to do it as balanced as possible. But in all honesty, we do not have a clear plan on those yet. So
The reason we don't have a clear answer for that is it part of it falls into a mechanical issue. It's going to depend at least partially on how the patches actually flow and how they work. There's only so much you can pull from one to the other. But as Rick did state, as far as the balance goes, etc., we're very well aware of it, and it's something that we are concerned with, that we want to make sure that the gameplay and the meta itself aren't thrown completely out of whack.
Sure. All right, cool, fantastic. What was the next one we've got? Oh, okay. You guys are going to love this one, I'm sure. And I'm sure you've seen it everywhere on the forums, Jauska. So, there's been a massive amount of discussion in the community in regards to the ghillie suit.
yeah. Gilly-
So, what are your guys' thoughts on the ghillie suits? Are there any plans to change it? I'm sure you're sick to death of hearing this question, but are there any plans to change it, or are you leaving it as it is, or are you going to implement the crafted item to bring people to show their names up, or what's the deal with it?
All right, the ghillie suit.
Yeah.
Pretty big topic at the moment. The item that reveals players' names, that is the flare. The request has been put in to enable it as quickly as possible. That'll be the first step in I'm going to use the phrase level the playing field because it seems the most adequate.
Yeah.
Other things to take into account with the ghillie suit. The main effects that people are concerned with is the first is that it hides the player's name, and following that is the fact that it also hides the HP bar. The third issue that has been expressed is the difficulties that it involves for colorblind players. To address each of these, I'll start with colorblind players. If you go into your game settings, specifically into the video section, there are filters. By default, you're going to be on recommended. You can go through a wide array of different photo filters that this game has built in. Everything from black and white to sepia to an actual cyan filter, which makes a world of difference. Each of these, depending on the type of color blindness you have, should be able to help you. You can also very heavily alter the saturation, gamma, and contrast. I have a few friends that are colorblind that express the same issue to me, and this made a pretty big difference for them. It, at least from their point of view, no pun intended there, resolved that issue with the ghillie suit.
Yeah.
Something else to take into account, there are the dog pets specifically. Pets in the game, each type of pet has a unique ability. You can, whenever your pet is summoned, you can right-click on the paw icon that brings up your pet menu. When you right-click it, a new menu comes up. You can click on a dog, and there's a white star icon. Click this, and it activates the dog's special ability. This makes the dog put a mark on an aggressive player that's coming towards you or that's within range of the dog. That also helps weed out players that are wearing the ghillie suit. Another concern, and one of the ways that I fight against the ghillie suit, speaking on a personal level, is you have trouble calling your target because they're wearing a bush.
Yeah.
Pay attention to their weapon. Now, obviously, if you're fighting 5 wizards,
yeah, they have
it's not going to help
the
you
same.
much.
Yeah.
Now, on a side note, if you're fighting 5 wizards, ghillie suits are the least of your problem, but
yeah,
that's not the topic.
But I mean, could it not be something possible, like, for example, once you engage in combat with someone, their name shows up for everyone to see, or is that not something that you guys are interested in doing at the moment?
That's a mechanical question that I actually read the suggestion yesterday. It's a fairly interesting concept. I don't know what the technical feasibility of it is, and it's definitely worth looking at. There's actually been quite a few suggestions that players have made, ranging from the names appearing to altering the suit to one that I personally liked was a player suggested make an alchemy potion that does the same thing as the ghillie suit.
Yeah.
That way, at least it would even it out. There's quite a few methods that have been suggested, and we're still reading through them, trying to figure out what is the best fit, what can be done, what should be done.
Sweet. Okay, so that does that. So you guys have been taking note then, obviously, of the people, the sort of the questions and the complaints potentially that people have been asking. So that's good to hear. So the next thing, kind of communication based as well, is lots of people want to know: are there any ways that you guys are planning to do more communication with the player base? For example, you guys have already done a couple Q&As on your forums, haven't you? But a few people were asking if you're maybe going to be starting something like a blog post or a roadmap or any YouTube videos where you go through the updates that you're bringing out so people can sort of like get a better and clear idea of what's going on with the game and the kind of direction you want to take it.
Well, I think, we are planning to. The thing is just that we are now so busy in basically running the game and getting everything evened out, for the people that still have issues, all the player feedback that we need to implement into the game. So we haven't had really time yet, but we are planning to have a more active voice on platforms like Twitch. Blog content is possible, although I haven't deeply looked into that yet. But yeah, for the moment, I think we have been quite vocal on everything we do on the forum, or at least we've tried to communicate as open as possible and engage the community there. But yeah, definitely we are looking at more ways to engage, with all of you guys to see how we can improve the game and how to better take care of your needs.
Cool. Awesome.
Awesome.
Wow, I can really hear myself. That's weird. Hello? Nope, I can still hear myself really loudly. Oh no, it's gone now. It's faded away. It's fine. I think it was coming through your speakers really loudly, but it's gone now. So I think you touched on this briefly earlier, Jauska, in terms of when you were talking to Pearl Abyss. It's how much freedom do you guys have when it comes to changing or adding features to the Western version of the game? Could you guys potentially make a Western only patch that for, I don't know, a raid dungeon that Korea doesn't have, or are you only able to somewhat adjust what the Korea game already has?
I think this one falls in your court, Rick.
Well, I mean, so if you look at it more from a business side, we had to go through great lengths in making this game a buy-to-play game. We really didn't believe that a free-to-play model, which it is in other territories, would be the great thing for Black Desert Online. And I think that shows with our success. So it took us some time to persuade them, and they gave us the liberty to pursue our commercial intentions. So in that case, we have freedom. As in actual game development, so let's say new patches of land, dungeons, certain systems, I think on the micro level we can.
Right.
But in all honesty, I think even if they would develop something for us, because I don't know, one of the community comes up with great ideas, let's say for a raid or for an instanced dungeon, which I think is a little bit against their belief anyway, because they really believe in this open sandbox world. But let's say, just as an example, they would create a dungeon especially for us. Then later that dungeon will be reused in other services. I'm sure of that, because putting time and effort in creating this stuff is quite costly and takes a lot of time. And, if you look at it from their perspective, from the developer's perspective, it would be a shame not to reuse that content in other services.
Sure.
It's also the concept that if it does well in this market, it could potentially do well in the others. And since it already exists, you should try to use it. So, as Rick said, don't be wasteful.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a fair point. But so you guys giving active suggestions. Say, I'm not saying we want raid dungeons. It's just the first one that's popped into my head. I'm not saying that we want that kind of content because I love the open world aspect of the game. But say, as a community, everyone was saying, "Oh yeah, we really want raid dungeons," and you took that to Pearl Abyss. There is a chance that they'd go, "Yeah, we can work on that," and they could actually start actively making that content for maybe both us and the other regions through the world.
Yeah, I mean, we from the start. I think from the start when we announced the game that we would be bringing it to the West as a buy-to-play game. Since then, we've actively listened to the community, on all aspects, and Jauska directly fed all that information into the developer. That's not saying they will do everything we tell them to do, or they will apply all the changes the community wants, but we are listening, they are listening, and they take it very seriously. So, nothing is impossible. And same for the ghillie suit. If any of your current viewers have cool ideas on how to how to go about it, then please put it in the comments, and we'll have a look at it for sure.
Cool.
Definitely.
Right. Okay. So the next question we've got, then moving on from that one, is. So this is more a technical issue, so I don't know if you guys are able to help with this, or I don't know if you guys have experienced it in game, but lots of players have experienced an issue with FPS being locked in full screen mode. Like, for an example, I only get 25 frames a second when I'm in full screen mode, but if I put it in windowed full screen mode, I get 50. Are you guys aware of this? Is there any fixing plan for this?
Have you noticed that whenever that happens, your refresh rate also changes?
On where? On my refresh rate on where?
Your monitor refresh rate, it'll go from 60 hertz down to 25
And where can I
or
adjust?
24.
Where can I adjust that?
You won't be able to adjust it. It's actually
Right.
part of the bug that you're describing.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And
Sorry. That's what I meant. Is there like a fix for it coming out?
yes, the bug has been thoroughly documented, reported. We are awaiting a fix.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Cool. So we're just waiting on it. So hopefully it will be resolved.
Do you know when this fix will be with us, Wes?
I don't have the ETA on it, but it was the refresh rate and the 4K monitor issues were both discussed in the meeting earlier.
Ah, okay. So
We should be
definitely aware of it.
Awesome. All right. Cool.
if it's an easy fix, I think you can relatively expect it soon. They have been quite quick in turning around certain issues. So
Yeah, PA's turnaround time is fairly impressive.
Yeah, I think so too. So hopefully ASAP.
Cool. All right then. No problem. Next question is another. Again, this is another one that gets probably asked an awful lot, which is about the player trading in the game. Now, we understand why you've obviously disabled player trading within this game, but some people are asking if there's any ideas to introduce player trading between, for example, a guild. Because if we're trying to craft, I don't know, a fishing boat, it would be a hell of a lot easier if we go, okay, you grab wood, you go grab the ore that we need, and we can all pool our resources together, then make a boat, and it would save so much time. Same for like cannons and stuff for raids and stuff. Do you guys have any ideas on that, or not really?
I have a laundry list of ideas, most of which have been supplied by the community themselves. I've seen posts that looked like a documented thesis. I've seen one-liners. Everything from had to have been on each other's friends list for X amount of time or have to get a certain amount of activity within a guild. There's been a lot of suggestions with it and a lot of people that are pro-trade and against trade. It's probably the single most split topic I've seen on the forums. And as you said, at the moment, trade is not enabled. But at least speaking from my side of it, I'm definitely paying attention to all of the feedback that players are giving, documenting it, reading it, trying to just take it all in because there are so many approaches and so many ideas. Rick, what about your side?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see trading in the game, to be honest, and I think everybody here thinks it that way. But of course, it does require a serious look into the systems we have. It's not something you simply add. So that needs to be researched first. And but if it's workable and if it would work for us, and if it's not, because that's I think the most important thing. If it's not exploitable, I would happy to add it to the game. But I think this is something that we've already expressed to Pearl Abyss, but this is not a 1, 2, 3 fix. It seriously has impact on the game, and we need to be very careful on it and test it properly before we, if it works. We need to be very careful in testing it before we roll something like that out to the live game.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, the main concern that people have about it is that it would obviously be abused by gold sellers, which kind of leads me on to the next question, which I guys think you've tried to adjust, try to fix in the most recent patch that you guys brought out the other day, which is the gold seller spam has become pretty awful in channel chat. I mean, are there any other ways that you are trying to combat it, or do you have any plans on how to get rid of them?
Yes, we are looking at it from several perspectives on how to combat it, and but again, this also comes with being as successful as we are right now, which in the beginning we thought we had a good shot at being sustainable. But having the success we have right now, of course, also attracts a lot of people that try to abuse the situation. And again, we weren't ready for that. So we are now exploring several options to combat this gold seller problem. But we are aware of it, and it's one of the top things on our list to solve.
Cool.
Or at least to combat.
Cool. All right. Jauska, this would probably be one for you. Now, this is more an in-game question than sort of like a fixing the game question, but lots of people want to know why or how it's done, myself included, just to get a solid answer. Do you know how world boss loot works? Like, what determines whether you get loot or not? Is it purely damage based, or are there other things?
I'm not going to give the exact specifications how it works, but I can shed some light on it. Damage does play a role in it. It has to do with actually hitting the monster, registering it, and then based on the amount of activity, the damage dealt, all of that is factored in. It also takes into account if you die, if you exceed a certain distance from the boss, if the boss resets. Each of these take a factor into it, and by no means should you consider the field boss system complete. You notice with the last patch, we just added the Dastard Beg. That's one more new field boss. We're paying attention to it. We're seeing how many people are attending. There was a recent world boss kill that had easily 300 people at one field boss. It's a pretty high player count for a single one. Obviously, somewhere lower level, etc. But a lot of players are attending these. Now it's a matter of taking that data, now that we've seen it in action, seeing how it works with our player base, with our demographic, reviewing it and seeing what needs to be done, if something needs to be done, and make any improvements that we can find.
Cool. All right, sweet. Sorry, I just got killed whilst riding through the world on my horse. Feels bad.
Welcome to Black Desert.
I know, right? It's great. I was waiting for it to happen. I knew it would happen at some point during this, and I just didn't know how long it would take to happen. So the next thing that I was going to ask is, can we get, or is there any plans for us to get two-step authentication for our accounts?
Definitely a feature that people have been requesting. Account security is something of everybody's concern. As Daum, as a player myself, and you as a player, it's something that it's something that should exist. We're looking into it, trying to figure out which system's going to fit best. Once we have a plan in action, we will start to execute it.
Cool. Awesome. Sweet. Let's have a look through what else we've got. I think those are pretty much all the ones I had written down for this. Oh, here's one. So this one just got asked just before I started streaming, but I wanted to add it in because I'm kind of curious as well. So if you're in a party in this game and someone's getting a crit in your party, it gives like a black flashing effect around the sides of the screen. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Do you know?
No, I don't think I follow.
Oh, okay. So if you're playing in a party or whatever, and someone gets a crit, it sort of like does a black flashing effect on the outside of the screen. It's almost like a screen shake ability kind of thing. I don't know if you're following what I mean, and it's a visual camera effect, but it's somewhat distracting, and people want to know whether it's like if you can actually disable it, or if you guys are gonna implement a way to disable it. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'm sure at some point I can send you like a video shot of it.
It sounds like a setting, actually. Or not?
I can say I don't follow, but that might be because I haven't seen it while I've been playing. I have camera shake completely to the left. It bothers me.
Yeah, same.
I don't like it. I have whenever you first load in, you have two sliders that you can move. I push all of them both to the left-hand side, and I haven't noticed the effect you're describing. So
I'll try and turn it all down, and if I get it again, I'll send you a message with it, so you can sort of like...
that'd be perfect. Just tag me on the forums, and you can either send me a direct PM or make a post and do @Jauska.
Cool.
Either one.
All right, no worries. Yeah, I'll do that. Lots of people are asking, do we know when the first Node Wars and Castle Sieges are coming? Like, do we have a confirmed date for that yet, or is it still in a work in progress?
Still a work in progress.
Okay. Are we still expecting them sort of like around a month after release, or are we still in the dark here until you guys confirm it, basically?
I would have to go check my notes, so in the dark for the moment.
Okay, cool. No worries. And whilst on the subject of PvP, are you guys... so the bounty hunter system was mentioned way back, wasn't it? Back in, was it the closed beta 2 you guys announced it?
Yep. during the trip to Korea.
Yeah, is that still in works? Have we got that coming out? What's going on with that? Because some people are thinking the karma system is still a bit brutal if we want a PvP.
Something like the bounty hunter system. There was also the Karma V2. Both of those were posted up on the forums. Whenever something is posted in that nature, that's basically the same as you seeing it up on the whiteboard. That is an idea. It's a concept. It's nothing that there's not even a single line of code that is written for it. Whenever something like that's proposed, the community feedback is taken in, it's relayed, and then it's reviewed, and then development can start. Right now, it isn't. I couldn't give you an ETA on that, even if I desperately wanted to.
So it's just basically waiting until it happens, and when we get it, we will get it. But it is still being essentially that is still a possibility for us to get that.
Definitely. Yes.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I think that's what we wanted to know. We just wanted to make sure that there was maybe something changing with that.
Speaking on a personal level, I want the bounty hunter system pretty bad.
Yeah, I would like that as well over the karma system. It feels like after I kill sort of like 5-6 people, I'm pretty much in negative karma. And that
Go into your game settings and change it so your windows stay open even if you get attacked, and just keep your character info page open. It makes a world of difference, and you'll stop turning red. That's what I had to do.
What, to stop yourself from going into negative karma all the time?
Yep.
Yeah, that could be fixed. A couple more questions, then I'll let you guys get back to what you're doing. One of them was, so there's I don't know if you're in a guild, Jouska. There's a guild quest, specifically the extra large guild quest to kill Cyclops. You know exactly where I'm going with this already.
Oh.
The Cyclops
I remember
quest.
the first time I got this in Korea.
Yeah, right. I mean, we get it we got it on our guild four times in like 2 days or something like that, and I think some guilds got it like 4 times in 1 day. And
the top record so far is 8 in a row.
That is pretty brutal. So, I mean, are there...
Whenever media comes out, there will be new guild missions.
Yeah, so we can sort of say goodbye to that then, I guess. But, I mean, are you guys... Can you increase the spawn rate of Cyclops or anything like that to make it less brutal? Because we were there...
I'll add it to my feedback report.
It takes like 2 hours sometimes to do that quest. It's pretty horrible.
Have you gotten it when another guild has it in the same channel?
But that's fun then, somewhat, because then it elicits PvP. So, I mean, at least then we're not just stood there waiting for spawn spots 24/7. But yeah, when we're by ourselves, we're all sort of like there being like, well, what do we do to pass the time, until it comes out? So, all right, yeah, if you can increase the spawn rate, I'm sure we'd all really appreciate that. And the last, actually, no, there are 2 more things I want to ask you, and then I will let you guys get off. The energy system as it is, because obviously it costs energy to process on EU, as opposed to on Korea or Russia or anything, and it doesn't cost energy. It was obviously that was intended. Is that going to be in the game permanently? Is it always going to cost energy to process stuff, or is it something that we're likely to see changes to?
The energy system was designed and intended in the way that it's been executed. Now, one of the things that I don't think a lot of people have taken into account is once you get to skilled or higher, now this isn't as dominant in processing, but it's still in effect there as well. Once you get to the skilled tier and beyond, you start getting some noticeable energy discounts.
Right. So you're saying it becomes less of a problem the higher level you are, essentially?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I was working on a Steel Terratus set, and I went and I started off with no gathering. It took me forever to get enough hides to make my first set of Steel Terratus. By the time I reached skilled gathering, I started off with 150 energy, and by the time I would have normally completely bottomed out of energy, I still had 80.
Right, okay.
The savings are pretty powerful, and if you step back and look at it for a moment, it actually makes a lot of sense. Whenever you first start working on something, you're bad at it. You have no idea what you're doing. But as you do it more, you become more efficient at what you're doing. The system reflects that same mentality.
Cool. All right, fair enough. So at the moment, basically, you're saying is that it gets better as you get higher up levels, which, I've had quite a few people actually say that to me. It was just a question that lots of people want asked. So as it stands at the moment, you don't plan on removing processing costing energy, basically, is where we're at. Nope. Cool. All right, no problem. And the last question for today will be about health potion cooldowns. Like, do you guys see there any problem with the health potion cooldowns? Do you think they're fine where they are in terms of like open world PvP, for example? A lot of times it can sometimes be, potion popping wars, unless you get the right chain of CC, and then in which case it's fine. But do you think there's any problem there, or do you think it just takes time for the gear and everything to balance out so potions don't become so dominating?
I want to see more data before I weigh in on that. I want to see once the actual gear curve has been established, and same thing for sieges. I want to see how heavily they impact a more polished form of end game. It's really hard to measure it at the moment because there's a fairly distinctive gap between the player base. You have the people that came in and hit it hard, hit the ground running, and you're looking at plus 15 weapons with some pretty good jewelry. I'm talking fairly sizable damage for where we're at in the game so far. And then you have players that didn't, I'm not going to say they went casual, but they took it easier. They weren't pulling 16-hour days trying to reach the final tier. Potions in a setting like that are pretty drastic and very noticeable. But whenever you start letting people level out as people catch up and they reach that, I call it a gear plateau. Once they reach that stage, then we'll be able to get a better feel of how potions are impacting it.
Cool. All right, fair enough. So just waiting to see, like you said, until you've got more information, then maybe we'll go from there.
Yeah.
There is one more thing, but I didn't really get this question, Jauska. Maybe you do, because you've probably seen the posts on the forum. I've skimmed over them briefly, but I don't get affected by it because I don't play a warrior or a berserker or anything. And that is grapple issues.
The grabbing.
Yes. So you do know about it.
I say this on the forums quite frequently. I'm going to repeat it here. I spend anywhere from 4 to 6 hours each day reading any thread that I'm tagged in, and many of them that I'm not. So definitely seeing it. Warrior and Berserker, the grabs, I've been reading the threads about it, and I've made a note to where I want to go and test it myself. I want to personally understand what's going on here. I can read about it, but this is something I feel you really need to experience to fully understand it. And once that's done, we'll move forward.
Cool. All right. So you have checked it. It's just getting and actually looking at the issue. Cool.
That'll also help understand what is going on.
Yeah, because I'm not really sure. I read some of the posts about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not really aware of this issue because, like I said, I don't play the right class. So, it doesn't.
What class do you play?
I'm a witch, of course. Got to have
Perfect choice.
Got to have that 3-spell spam. What about you? What do you play?
Right now, wizard.
Oh, sick. Okay, right. So you're in the same boat as me. And Rick, what do you play?
I'm a warrior.
Oh, okay. There you go. So you can test the grappling issues for everyone then, and give it back to Jalska. Cool. I mean, there are so many questions that people still want answered and everything, but this would go on for literally hours and hours. And I understand that you guys obviously have loads of stuff to be getting on with, and we've been sort of like going at this for around an hour now. So, I mean, there are lots of things to ask, but like you say, I'm sure the best thing to say to these guys would be, if there are questions you guys have, Jalska has said openly that he monitors the forums for like 4 to 6 hours a day going through all the stuff that you guys have to say. So if you are having a problem with the game, or if there is a question you want answered, that's probably the best place to ask, isn't it? Not opening a ticket or anything, but actually asking it on the forums in the report section.
The forums would be best because that's, the easiest way for us to collate everything. Please only make tickets if you really have a technical issue or you're looking for customer support. But the forums are that's where you can discuss the game and what kind of improvements you're looking for, etc.
Cool. Oh, fantastic.
Suggestions are always welcome.
Suggestion section is by far my favorite forum section.
You're gonna probably get You're probably gonna get a massive influx now.
Perfect.
Even less time for your day now because you'll be reading them all this time. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Jalska and Rick, for joining. I really appreciate it. You've answered a lot of questions, and I'll be whacking this up on YouTube later so that people can also see it and everything. So I'll be sure to direct them towards this if they have any questions. What you guys have answered on today.
Yeah, cool. I hope we gave a little bit more clarity, I think I speak for the both of us, but also the company as a total. That we are really pleased with the massive support we get from the community. And we are trying our best to get any remaining issues solved and to improve the game on a daily basis. So thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm sure I will speak to you at some point in the future.
All right.
And
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
thank you.
Twitch chat seems to have loved it as well. So yeah, I'm sure they're all saying thank you. So thanks very much, guys. And I will speak to you soon. Bye.
Have a great one.
Cool. Well, I think that went really well. What do you guys think? I'm sorry, guys. I know there were so many questions. I was trying to look at chat, and I did try and get as many of the questions in that I could, but obviously everyone has their own questions that they want to ask, and I can't ask them all, I'm afraid. Otherwise, we would have been here for literally, 4, 5, 6 hours, and I'm sure they've got plenty of stuff that they need to be getting on with.